All righty, everybody. Hello. Welcome in to the Pump Fake. We are powered by FanDuel. I'm Jarrett Bailey. That's the head coach of our program, Todd Haley. After a week 17 in the NFL that I got to say, man, looking at the slate coming in, there was only like a small handful of like meaningful games, but for the most part, they were entertaining to say the least.
Oh yeah, there was no lack of entertainment, even in some of the low scoring ones. I mean, a lot of games came down to critical situations, and then we had last night that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
To me, the Bears 49ers. I mean, it's 7-7, it's 14-14, it's 21-21, it's 28-28, 35-35. I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. I'm like, I gotta see what's happening here. So. That one took the cake, but some really important games for a lot of teams, and it went one way or the other for all of them, obviously.
Yeah, let's start with Bears 49ers. I think that was the most exciting game of the week 17 window. Starts off, it looks like it's going to be a long night for the 49ers. Brock Purdy throws a pick six to TJ Edwards on the first play from scrimmage. But then it's just haymaker after haymaker from both teams. Like you said, it's 7-7. Purdy has 5 total touchdowns on the night, 3 passing, 2 rushing. Jawan Jennings put San Francisco up late in the game. The Bears drive down into the red zone. They run the hook and ladder play. We saw that from Buffalo early in the afternoon. But they fall short. Final score being 42-38. I think Chicago, and I'm going to lose a lot of people here, but that's okay because this is a spot on analogy if you're in this niche. If you're a pro wrestling fan, there's being put over in defeat where, the guy might have lost to Hulk Hogan or whatever, but he came away looking a hell of a lot better than he did going in. And you say, all right, I want to see more of that guy going forward. Chicago had the big win last week. They have another test this week. They don't win, but they've proven themselves as being more than just like a plucky upstart team. This is a team that you don't want to face in January.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the job Ben Johnson's done. I thought a heck of a lot of him as a play caller. I wanted to see what it looked like as a head coach because it is different. But man, the guy he looks solid on the sidelines. He's got energy in the locker room afterwards that players really enjoy, even if it means ripping his shirt off. But and he didn't just come in glad-handing, meaning patting everybody on the butt, saying it's okay, it's okay. He came in with a tough edge. He knew it was going to take some pain and suffering to change the quarterback, to change the entire culture, and he's really moved them in that direction. So really impressed by what he's done. The growth of Caleb, I don't think he's there quite yet. I think there's still too much escaping out the backside of the pocket for my liking, but this guy is ultra talented. I mean, he's got wheels. He can throw it from any angle. He's got a true NFL arm. But I think you saw the difference last night in Brock Purdy, who not nearly as gifted physically, but his ability to slide up through the pocket, affect those underneath linebackers, hit those in cuts for big plays. He was like a surgeon last night, other than that first play. I mean, he really Brock Purdy does not get enough attention, in my opinion. Maybe it's the baby face, maybe it's where he was drafted. But man, this guy can really play the quarterback position. And I think he and Kyle Shanahan are just in lockstep as far as how they see a game needs to be played.
Yeah, Brock Purdy in this game, 24-33, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have that pick. And even then on the pick, it was a pass deflected, I want to say, by Jaquan Brisker. It was kind of a jump ball and then ends up in the hands of TJ Edwards. So even then, it's not as if he, threw a duck that was picked off. Big game for Christian McCaffrey as well, 140 yards on the ground, 41 receiving. Ricky Pearsall, 5 catches for 85 yards. So, the resilience of this 49ers team is what's really stuck out with me throughout the season. And, I talked about it going into this week. Of all the great jobs that Kyle Shanahan has done, I think that this is probably his best body of work. This is his Magna Carta. This is his Mona Lisa in terms of what he's done, because they're without Nick Bosa. They're without Fred Warner. They've been without Brandon Ayuk all year. They were without Brock Purdy for a little bit, and Mac Jones came in and played really well. To weather all of that and come out with the potential to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, can't say enough about the job that he's done this year.
You really can't, and it started even before the season started. When they let Deebo Samuel go, Greenlaw,
Afonga.
and then Funga, and then you get the injuries, like you said. It's a testament John Lynch to have a guy like Mac Jones there, ready to step in and at least hold the fort. Because Purdy missed significant time, but McCaffrey, as long as you got him, I really like Pearsall, and he missed 7-8 games or something like that. So they've been doing it with smoke and mirrors. The defense and Robert Saleh until last night has been really good for the most part. They ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw last night, but it's a terrific job, and kind of why you don't make excuses, in this league, because they're not going to cancel the season, as Bill Parcells always said to me. We got to play with who we got to play with. It's up to you guys to get them to play good enough for us to win. So that's what they've done, and it's been really impressive.
So looking at the current standings, the playoff standings in the NFC, Seattle still holds that number 1 seed at 13-3. Chicago is leading the NFC North, so they're the 2. Philadelphia at the 3, Carolina at the 4, and then you look at this wild card lineup. It's stacked with San Francisco currently sitting at the 5, the Rams at the 6, and Green Bay at the 7. The 49ers and Seahawks will play each other for the NFC West victory and the number 1 seed. So that's going to be a huge game in week 18. We'll preview that later on. But again, just an incredible job by the 49ers. And, coming into this year, I don't think there was a lot of people talking about them as a potential Super Bowl team. I think we all thought they'd bounce back from a slow 2024. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see them in the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in 6 years?
Yeah, it's got kind of a destiny feeling to it, with all the talk. Their last 2 games at home. If they win, they won't have to leave Santa Clara, their home base. So it's kind of got that destiny feeling to it a little bit. So we'll see, but that was sure a big win for them.
Yeah. Well, from a coaching perspective, compare having home field advantage throughout the playoffs to being the 5 seed. How much of a difference does that make for a team and their confidence going into the postseason?
It probably depends the team's makeup. I mean, I've been on both sides of it, but your fan base, do you gain an advantage because of weather? That's a big thing. And when I was with Arizona, we had to go on the road to Carolina, 14-point underdogs, won. Then we got to play at home against the Falcons, home against the Eagles, and won them all to get to the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I think, the biggest thing to me is if you are a cold weather team, outdoor stadium, that could be an advantage depending upon who you draw. If it's a Miami Dolphin team or a Texans team or something like that, I think could be an advantage. Once the game starts, I think the fans, as loud as they are and all that, yes, they affect things, but I still think generally, the best team will win, home or away.
Let's go back to Saturday with the Texans, the Chargers, 2 teams that have been playing as well as anybody. Houston is on an absolute tear right now. Both quarterbacks kind of had afternoons to forget. CJ Stroud throws a pair of interceptions, but 2 touchdowns. Justin Herbert throws a pick that bounces off the hands of Arondé Gadsden in the red zone. And that felt like an early nail in the coffin. They got an interception in return, but Chargers never really able to catch up to the Texans. Houston wins 20-16. They hop up to the 5 seed in the AFC playoff picture, knocking the Chargers down to the 6 and the Bills down to the 7. Houston right now, hottest team in the AFC, I would say, defensively, probably the best defense in football right now, and everything that they did on Saturday. And throughout this winning streak that they've been on to claw their way back, and not just claw their way back, but be dominant in the process. I don't think anybody wants to see Houston right now.
Yeah, no, I've been saying it for weeks. I mean, this defense is legit. I mean, they're giving up, 16, 17 points a game.
Yeah.
that makes it a lot easier to play offense. We had that conversation in the earlier show, how many points we need. When that number is 16 or 17, that's a pretty good feeling for an offense. And I'm seeing signs of life from CJ in the offense. I believe the young coordinator is kind of getting his feet under him. I like the way they came out to start this Charger game. They had some clear-cut plays to attack that Chargers defense. The big one to Higgins and then Noel. Those were designed top 10 plays that they got the look they wanted and they executed. And then you said, a couple interceptions. I like Woody Marks, but they don't really have a big time running back or running game, but they stay committed, which is good. And I think the more CJ understands, he doesn't have to play hero ball. A punt's okay, an incompletion's okay, even a sack's okay at times. So with that defense, just don't beat yourselves.
Yeah, and we've seen that Houston can put up points. They put up 40 on Arizona earlier this season. Like, they're not incapable of doing it. But when you have a defense like that, I'm sure D'Amico Ryans is saying, look, like we can be a risk-averse team. We don't have to, take too many chances and put ourselves in harm's way. And I'm sure that that's a pretty good feeling for a team when they can just lean on a really good defense and knowing that they have the quarterback capable and the offense capable to put up points, but not needing to rely on it if they want to have a shot at winning.
Yeah, and I think those are good conversations head coaches can have, even a defensive head coach can have with especially a young offensive coordinator. Listen, here's what I think, how we're going to play defensively, what we can do against these guys. We don't need fireworks. We just need consistent, don't do anything dumb. Don't beat yourselves. And I think that's kind of what they're finding through this win streak. I think CJ found a little bit when he was watching Davis Mills when he was hurt, watching him get wins without doing anything really ultra spectacular. I'm sure, standing there watching from that perspective probably helped CJ out a bunch. He's like, wait, this defense is pretty good. I had to play against them all training camp and they were a pain in the ass, but standing on the sideline like this, I don't need to be a hero all the time.
The Saturday night game, Ravens and the Packers, no Jordan Love, no Lamar Jackson, no problem for Baltimore. Derrick Henry, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns on this game. The one at the very end to put the dagger in, keep Baltimore alive in the postseason race with Pittsburgh. And Green Bay, for as hot as they've started, and I know Micah Parsons isn't out there, and I know that Jordan Love wasn't out there, but I don't know. Have they plateaued in your mind where we've seen the best of them already this season and going into the postseason? They're the 7th seed for the 3rd straight year. I don't know. I feel like they may have peaked too early.
I don't know, Jared. I mean, that score is a little deceiving, number one, because this game was 27-24 without Jordan Love playing. I think that when you lose a player of Micah's caliber, there is a period of mourning, if you will, where you got to kind of just get through it and realize, all right, this is our new, reality. But Malik Willis, I thought was terrific. I think there's something going on with Josh Jacobs. I mean, I have to believe he's hurt because, they start him and then he just really doesn't touch the football. So, they had a non-existent run game and still with a backup quarterback. Now they were playing another backup quarterback, but they stayed in this game. I mean, Watson, Romeo Dobbs, they got guys, the tight ends are making plays. I still believe this defense is pretty darn good. They just couldn't stop Derrick Henry. And, hats off to both Huntley and Malik Willis. They helped themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if a Malik Willis showed up on a Steeler roster somewhere down the road.
Yeah, I texted you on Saturday night, and I said, yeah, Malik Willis, future Steelers quarterback, probably a greater than 0% chance that happens. I would not be surprised in the slightest. And I think with Baltimore, and we talked about this on the other show as well, they have a clear identity when Snoop Huntley's in. It's, all right, Derrick Henry, we're going to give you the ball 30 times. The other defense knows it's coming. Stop it. And if you can't, then great. We're going to keep doing it. And if you can, we'll still keep doing it and hope that we can get back on our horse and ride Derrick Henry to victory. And they were able to do that. So I do think that there is an element for week 18 where if you are the Steelers, maybe you'd rather see Lamar Jackson over Snoop Huntley, because right now Lamar less than 100%, Snoop with him under center, the Ravens know who they are a little bit more right now, and it's power run downhill, and that's how they're going to try to beat you.
Yeah, and I thought that's when the Ravens were really struggling early. They had dug themselves a very deep hole, but even though Snoop didn't win all the games, I think they started to form that identity that when Lamar did come back, they kind of stayed in some of those similar concepts of him under center, running downhill. And then, the more confident you get in a guy like Lamar, it gets complicated because, it's like Josh Allen. Do you keep handing it off, or do you just put the ball in his hands and let him win the game for you? That's another discipline aspect of, I think, calling the plays is, all right, I know Lamar's out there. He starting to look like Lamar, but we got to just keep staying in this mode. And they kind of got away from it. Next thing you know, he's hurt again. Now they're kind of going back through it.
You brought up Josh Allen. That's a pretty good segue to go to Buffalo, where for the majority of this game, the Bills' offense wasn't on the board. Josh Allen runs for a touchdown to make it 13-6. Michael Badgley's extra point gets blocked because that's just been the Bills' luck as of late, it seems. And then Buffalo scores in the final 10 seconds. It's 13-12, and they go for it. And you would put out on Twitter, I don't know if I agree with that call. I'll say this. Khalil Shakir was open. Josh missed him. And this wasn't a good Josh Allen game by any means. For his standards, wasn't his best game. They still had a chance to win it at the end. I don't mind the call because if there was a better throw, it would have worked. And it just happened to not work in that situation. If they didn't already have a playoff spot locked up, then I would have hated it. But I think that they were saying, all right, you know what? Let's just put all our chips on the table. Let's go get out of here with a win. It almost worked. The throw wasn't there.
No way. And maybe if you tell me it's on the road, maybe if you tell me the Eagles had completed one pass in the second half, you're at home. Just keep the game going. You might win the toss, kickoff, and Jalen Hurts throws you one. I mean, they had 15 yards or whatever in the second half. Mm-hmm. I can't see at home putting it all on one play. And I agree with you. They ran a well-designed play, crossers. They got the guy they wanted in the back of the end zone. Josh drifted and missed it. I don't think Josh is 100%. You could tell he's a little gimpy, but play longer. You're playing better than the other team at that point. They got stopped at the 1-inch line already. They scored. They scored again. Just keep the game going and assume that you're going to be better than them.
Yeah, and it is a fair point to point out Jalen Hurts didn't complete a pass in the second half, which is how you still win in that scenario is a testament to their defense for sure. Jalen Carter played well. I think they sacked Josh 4 times. He's been sacked 40 times this year, by the way. He was only sacked 14 times last season. So I think that speaks to the lack of talent out wide, where he's having to hold the ball a little longer. He's having to try to do things with his legs to extend plays. I don't know. It feels like very early Big Ben-ish where, all right, yeah, he's going to hold the ball a lot, and sometimes it's going to piss you off. But there are going to be those times where he hits somebody on a 30-yard pass downfield after doing it. We saw him connect with Brandon Cooks a few times in this game. Tyrell Shavers had a few big catches. So that's kind of the double-edged sword right now with Josh, is that he's taking more hits, but he's having to hold the ball more because they don't have an elite number one.
Yeah, I think that's a major problem. And then you throw in there that Dalton Kincaid hadn't been on the field very much at all. He was out again last night.
Yeah.
He's a difference maker for them without having a big timer outside. So a little bit of everything, and then throw in there that he's a little beat up, I think. And defenses are just, the script is out of kind of how to flush him. Now it takes discipline. You got to have great rush lanes. But it's not like early on when he's just running up through there and having his take of anything he wants. He can run it for 20 yards. He can throw it for 30 yards. Teams are doing a little better job defensively, rushing them and keeping them contained or pushing them the right direction that causes him the most problems. But I think, the biggest thing is you said it. No big time number one. Nobody's really stepped up. And then Kincaid not being there. Now they've stayed committed to the run, and they kept doing it last night, even though early on they weren't getting much. They continue to try to hand the football off, which is a good thing, and probably kept them in the game ultimately.
Do you think that Joe Brady is back as play caller next year? He's kind of been under fire a lot this season. We haven't seen, like, this comes back to the players too. I mean, we just talked about the lack of number one. But how much of that do you put on Joe Brady in terms of when the offense is struggling? Is how much of the blame pie does he have to eat?
I mean, everybody has to take a bite of the pie, but I don't. Like I said, he hasn't. Like different times we saw whoever was who was the coordinator before that got
that'd
fired.
Be Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey, where he just abandoned the run completely. And Brady, even Todd Monken abandoned it a couple years ago with the Ravens, and then he came back the next year and he stayed disciplined and continued to hand it off, even though you had Lamar. It's hard when you got a guy like Ben or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes to keep that discipline. And when you know that anytime he throws or takes off and runs, you got a chance at a big time play. But there is something to be said to staying disciplined, handing the football off, eating up clock, keeping your defense on the sideline. But that does get hard with the better players you have.
The Bills will close out Highmark Stadium, at least for the regular season. Depending on how the cards fall, they could have a playoff game there. But for sure, the last regular season game at Highmark Stadium next week, they'll be wearing the old the red helmets, the old Jim Kelly era uniforms. I'm excited for that. They need to break those things out and make them the full-time look. I'm surprised they haven't yet.
Yeah, I was with the Jets back then. I still have nightmares about Bruce Smith and some of the Darryl Talley, some of those guys. So I don't know. I might be triggered.
That's fair. The Bills 9.5-point favorites in the final game at Highmark Stadium. We'll keep rolling through here. The Jacksonville Jaguars defeat Indianapolis 23-17. The Colts are out of the playoff picture. That was determined with the Texans win on Saturday. They still go out and put up a heck of a fight. But Liam Cohen becomes the first head coach in history to win 12 games in his first season with a team that had only won 4 or fewer the season before. It's a loaded race for coach of the year this season, where you got the Ben Johnsons of the world, Liam Cohen. You got to throw Mike Vrabel in there, Kyle Shanahan. As loaded a race in that particular award in recent memory.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting a tweet together about just that subject, and I'm like, where do you even start? I mean, Liam Cohen has done a tremendous job. Again, a little tough love early with Trevor, that has now started to pay off. You're seeing Trevor using his feet more, making some plays, scoring touchdowns. But credit to the Colts. You and I talked about it. I'll be rooting for anytime Phillips out there. I'm rooting for him, and I thought he had another chance, and it didn't go his way. But, the Jags, I'm a believer. I mean, they're opportunistic on defense. Trevor's playing better. Cohen stays committed to the run. They got a pretty complete team.
Greater than zero chance that we see a Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence rematch from that game in Duval a few playoffs ago, where the Jaguars overcame the 28-0 deficit and came back and won. So I'm sure that the Chargers would like to maybe exercise some demons.
Thanks, Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
Anyway, jeez, oh man,
less than ideal.
That was one of the worst cases, other than maybe Atlanta in the Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Yeah,
those two have to be at the Mount Rushmore of just how to give a game away.
For sure. Battle in Florida, the Buccaneers and the Dolphins. The Bucs lose again, man. They are now 7-9. They've lost 7 of 8 after a tremendous first half of the season. But the division's still on the line next week with Tampa Bay and Carolina, because Carolina lost by 17 to the Seahawks. There's a chance that we see Tampa Bay win the division at 8-9 for the second time in 4 years. They did that with in Tom Brady's final year. So NFC South is very much NFC Southing right now, where we thought that Tampa Bay would run away with the division early on. Carolina battled back while the Buccaneers simultaneously collapsed. I don't know if the Bucs lose to Carolina, I would assume Todd Bowles is probably out.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know Todd well. I think he's a heck of a coach, but
Sure.
uh, a new coordinator for the third year in a row, right?
Yeah.
No, he was getting all kinds of accolades early. Baker was in talk for MVP, but it's a marathon, not a sprint, and I don't know how well they've done at adjusting offensively. Todd Bowles is not involved in the offensive game plan any more than most defensive-minded head coaches are. So the other crazy thing, Jared, is if the Falcons would somehow beat the Rams tonight, you could have all three at 8-9.
Yeah.
Now the Falcons are out, but you could have three teams 8-9 at the top of the division. That would look weird on the standings as we look
sure
at
would.
it all offseason. So I don't know with Tampa. Baker, the inconsistencies have popped up. Some of the things that frustrated Cleveland at times, even though he had some success. So I thought getting all his dogs back, we'd see it change, but still just making some, careless throws that aren't needed that end up, costing them games. And
yeah, he had one to Ashton Davis. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, your season's on the line if Carolina wins, and you're throwing up hot air balloons to get picked off. And I don't know, he hasn't looked right over this rough stretch.
Yeah, how much of it's injury driven, I don't know, but you still got to play smart. And this last month, he has not really done that.
Yeah.
He's just been careless, is the best word to use for it.
Yeah, very much so. We touched on Seattle, Carolina briefly there, but the Seahawks win 27-10. Sam Darnold has won 13 games in consecutive seasons. He joins a very, very esteemed group of quarterbacks to do that, the likes of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, as the only quarterbacks to ever do that. Where do you fall on the Darnold scale? Because teams are winning over the last 2 years with him. He's played well. But I think for most of us, probably myself included, and maybe that's unfair, in the back of my mind, when you get to the postseason, there's a little voice saying, yeah, but it's still Sam Darnold, and he's probably going to do something stupid. So I think I'm just kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop.
Yeah, I think probably everybody is, and it's up to him to exercise those demons. That's really what it's going to take. I mean, it looked like he was going to do it last year, and then we saw a little bit of the old Sam Darnold, kind of like we're seeing the old Baker Mayfield at times now. But you can't take away what he's done the last 2 years. Like you said, the company he's in, doing that for two different teams is pretty incredible. But it's up to, he's got to exercise those demons. And if he does, I think most everybody will change their view and opinion of it. But it's got to take him doing it on the biggest stage and the biggest moments. I guarantee Minnesota wishes they had paid him and he was there.
Yeah.
I guarantee Justin Jefferson thinks that way 100%. So, but as far as his perception, I think it's up to him to just go out there and continue doing the things he's been doing and win a couple big games.
And like we said, Seattle, San Francisco playing for the 1 seed, while Carolina and Tampa Bay will now play in a winner-take-all. Winner goes to the postseason, hosts a playoff game. Loser goes home. One of 2 games like that for the weekend. We touched pretty heavily, obviously, on Brown Steelers and Believe in Steelers, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time there, but just briefly, Steelers lose in a game that they should have won without DK Metcalf, obviously, and now that sets up the second of 2 winner takes all. That's going to be the Sunday night game. Can't wait to be up till 1:30 in the morning writing about that. Thank you, NFL. I hate Sunday night games. Can I just say that real quick? I hate Sunday night games so much when I've got to be the one. And I know I'm coming from a place of privilege saying, oh, poor you got to, write about football for a living. I get it, but damn it, I hate Sunday night games.
I hate Saturday night games because I do 11:30 till 2 a.m. radio show. So I hate Saturday night games. Jared, I'm with you. I like to watch the football. I don't like to have to stay awake and drink Diet Coke the whole night as opposed to having a couple cocktails to do radio. So I'm with you.
My parents used to be on caffeine-free Diet Coke, which doesn't make sense at all to me. Like, if you're going to drink the soda, you might as well get the caffeine in it, eh?
Yeah, no. It tastes different to me, too. I don't like it. I can't even drink it. Even if I was desperate, I'd drink a regular Coke before I drink caffeine-free diet.
Let me put you on to Olipop. Have you had those?
I've seen those ads. I don't know. It's just sparkling water, isn't it?
That's basically all it is. Yeah. But it's a pretty good substitute if you want the soda taste without like a ton of, whether it be calories, caffeine, or anything. Once you get to a certain age, I found that you start looking for these things. And apparently like 26, 27 is the age that I try to find probiotics.
I barreled through the age of 26 and 27 with Diet Cokes on full bore.
Fair enough. All right. So another game that took place, a Christmas Day game. We didn't really have to focus too much on those, but the Lions did get eliminated from the postseason contention. If you would have told me coming into the year that neither the Chiefs or Lions would make the playoffs, I think we both would have said, yeah, you're crazy. But that's the world we live in right now. And for Detroit, similar to Tampa Bay, where they started off the year pretty hot and then just fell apart in the second half. Dan Campbell said it after that NFC title game loss to the 49ers, like, hey, this might have been our only shot. Missing the postseason. You look at Jared Goff's cap hit, it's pretty high, and he hasn't played great. I don't know, man. Some grim times may be coming for Detroit, and having to ask themselves some real questions at some key positions.
Yeah, it was all looking so good. Yeah, if they would have given us the opportunity to bet that, okay, just at least Kansas City or Detroit will be in the playoffs, you would have laid down your paycheck for sure, maybe life savings. But it's a tough league, and I think it's a combination of obviously injuries in the secondary hurt them a bunch, but some of the aggressive nature of going for it 4 or 5 times in a game that you don't get any, I think that has to be evaluated. I just think they're a team that was kind of one-dimensional in the sense that they needed a lead and they needed to be able to run the football efficiently to kind of make everything fall in place and go with the play action. And once teams took away the run game, now you became just kind of a drop-back team, and it looked pretty pedestrian. So, they got to figure some things out for sure. But, shocked that they are where they are.
The Vikings won this game with 3 net passing yards, by the way.
That was crazy.
Max Brosmer sacked 7 times for 48 yards. He went 9 of 16 for 51 yards. That speaks volumes. And by the way, 65 of those yards came on one pass to Jordan Addison. So, I'm sorry, that was a rush.
Run. If they didn't have that play, the Lions probably still win.
Yeah, they probably still do.
If they don't have the Addison jet sweep, I mean, they probably still win with 6 turnovers or whatever it was. I mean, it was crazy.
It is. And this is the first time since Dan Campbell's really turned around the ship that they've missed the postseason. They had that 9-8 season, was it in 2022? And that was kind of where they leaped off a foundation going to the postseason in 23 and last season winning 15 games. But now I'll be intrigued to see what they do in the offseason and how they address, a lot of these things, especially defensively, where you lose Aaron Glenn on that side of the ball, and he was obviously a very good coordinator, but you also lose Ben Johnson, and the offense kind of plateaus at a certain point. So there's a lot of questions to be had right now with the Lions, and I'll be intrigued to see how they address that going forward. In terms of the MVP race, Drake May made another strong case for himself, throwing more than double the amount of touchdowns than he had incompletions. He had 2 incompletions and 5 touchdown passes. Patriots went 42-10 over the Jets. They get to 13-3. They clinched the AFC East for the first time since 2019, which was Tom Brady's last year there. Great performance by the Patriots. Everybody, we keep coming back to but their schedule. And my, constant retort is that, but they're not just winning these games, they're beating the holy hell out of these teams, and Drake May is playing really well in the process. I don't think there's going to be too many people who, or if they do, talk themselves into, it's just the Patriots. When the playoffs do come around, I think that they'll be in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, it's a tremendous job. I had no doubt, known Mike Vrabel very well, having coached him, that he was going to be we saw it in Tennessee. I mean, I was shocked that they fired him, but especially New England, getting Josh McDaniels, somebody he knows well from when he was playing. I had no doubt this thing was going to get moving in the right direction. Did I think they'd be where they are right now? No. But that's a testament to the growth Drake May's made. They're still missing some pieces in different areas, but man, they are playing good football. I don't care who it's against, but again, a team in transition from being not very good to being a good team. You got to kind of pass all these tests, and as we get to the playoffs, that'll be a big one. With the young quarterback and a lot of players that haven't been there.
All right, so just a quick update on the standings as they currently stand ahead of Week 18. The Broncos and Patriots both sitting at 13-3. Each team has something to play for in Week 18, that being the number 1 seed. Jacksonville, the number 3 seed in the AFC at 12-4. The Steelers currently hold the number 4 seed at 9-7, but the winner of Steelers-Ravens will take the 4 seed. And then Houston, Los Angeles, and Buffalo have all clinched playoff spots. They are the wild card teams. As of right now, I believe Houston can still get the 3 seed, depending on what happens with Jacksonville. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what can happen. But Buffalo and the Chargers have both clinched playoff spots. It'll just come down to who's going to be the 6, who's going to be the 7 there. Very loaded AFC. And then in the NFC, Seattle, the number 1 seed, Chicago, the 2, Philadelphia at 3, and then Carolina currently at the 4. And then San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Green Bay, 5, 6, and 7. The 1 seed up for grabs with the 49ers and Seahawks. I believe they made that the Saturday game. Again, they had a golden opportunity to put the 1 seed for the NFC on Sunday Night Football. That would have been a great time. They could have kept Mike and Chris in Santa Clara for a week. They could have hung out, but no, they got to bring them to Pittsburgh. And it pisses me off so much. I hate it. What do you think about all of this in general, though? Of like, we have games on Sunday, obviously. The Monday, that's fine. But Thursday night games, now we're doing Black Friday games. They're trying to make Christmas games a thing every year. Saturday games late in the season. Call me a boomer or whatever, but maybe we just go back to Sundays and Mondays, and the only time a Thursday game is played is on Thanksgiving.
Too much money involved for that
I know
to ever happen. The only thing I don't like is the 2 Monday nights. I mean, I'll take football any time, but 2 Monday nights, especially when there's crossover. Now I got the split screen YouTube thing at least, but it's still a pain in the butt.
That takes away the entire charm of Monday night. Like the entire thing is like, oh, you're a standalone Monday Night Football game, and they're doing this.
When we were kids, Monday Night Football, and you knew it was on, you'd be thinking at school on the school bus ride home. You couldn't wait for it to get to 9 o'clock. I think it used to start then. You beg your parents to let you stay up. I mean, it has a special charm, but when there's 2 games going on, it just seems like any other day.
Especially when one of them is clearly like the diet Monday night game, and the other one is the like the big.
They get the worst announcers. They don't get the A team. They get the B team. So,
yes, correct. But I think that's every game that, like I said, we needed to touch on. We don't need to dive into too much of like Giants Raiders, but I know you had some thoughts on how the Raiders have handled the end of the season with the whole Max Crosby thing. What are your thoughts just on that whole situation?
I just don't like it. I've had a lot of people ask me, this time of year when you have teams that are down at the bottom that are potentially in line for that first pick overall, hey, do you tank? And I said, as a coach, a player, that conversation has never been had, and nor has it ever come down from the front office. In any situation I've been in, I wasn't in Cleveland when they earned the number 1 pick. I got hired afterwards, so never been somewhere where we earned the number 1 pick through bad play. But I never have heard that. But in this Raider situation, man, it's troubling to me. Max Crosby is as a competitive dude as you can be, and then they put out. He's going to need knee surgery. He probably knew he needed knee surgery 10 weeks ago.
Right.
This guy plays his butt off. He's so much fun to watch. He obviously loves football. And then you're told you got to sit down. You got to go to IR. Who knows if there were incentives involved? Maybe if he gets 2 more sacks, there's something involved. We don't know all that. But, I could see Brock Bowers, a young player, just being, oh, okay, you put me on IR, but not Max. And I just, and then Pete Carroll kind of has supported him. He said, I would have done the same thing. I just don't get it. It looks shady to me. So not what I think the NFL is about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm Max Crosby's best friend or anything like that, but having talked to him, it's He's a guy that more than anything is just put a W in the column. That's all he wants. And he could have gone elsewhere. He didn't need to stay in Vegas. If he would have hit the open market, he very well would have got that money, maybe more money from a contending team. But he's always reiterated wanting to win with the Raiders and wanting to be a Raider and win. And so the fact that they kind of did him dirty in a situation where he clearly wanted to play, he's very much, hey, I get paid to play 17 games, so I'm going to play 17 games kind of guy. Feels very shady from the front office and whoever made the decision to kind of take him off the field. But not a great situation. Not a great situation with them altogether. It looks like they're probably going to have another head coach next year, depending on what they do with Pete. I don't know, man. That's just a messy organization right now.
Yeah, it's not good, and Tom Brady's a part of it. I don't know. It's just been a weird year out there. From some of the hires, some of everything. It's just something doesn't sit right. So they got to get that figured out because there's a lot of great Raider fans out there.
Yeah. We talked about draft and whatnot. The Saints and Titans are both going to be teams drafting in the top 10, but neither team looks like they're going to be looking at quarterbacks right now because Tyler Shuck played great again, 333 passing yards. Cam Ward has his moments where he looks really good, and they're not going to draft a quarterback again. For New Orleans, though, 4 straight wins for the Saints to close out the year. I mean, if you're Kellen Moore, you're putting a little feather in your hat right now, feeling good going into 2026.
Yeah, I know they're going to be in transition a little bit, but if they feel like they have the quarterback position sorted out, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to make some tough decisions. They got some older players that the fans love, but it's probably time to move on from pretty soon. So, but having that quarterback piece, if they feel comfortable, that's a big thing. Winning games at the end of the season, I can speak from experience. My first year with the Chiefs, we won 4. But a couple of them were at the end where we really gained some positive movement and started to gain confidence. And that really translated into the offseason. And then, starting up the next year, it's real. It's not a pretend thing. When you finish strong and start to find yourself as a team and a culture, it can pay real dividends.
All right. And I think the only game we haven't really touched on so far at all is Dallas, Washington. The only thing that I really took from this is that God bless him. He seems like a very swell guy. I don't need Nate Burleson on commentary anymore. I don't think, nor do I need all the constant cuts to whatever outfit he's wearing of the week. It's whatever. That's his thing. That's fine. It just feels very Nickelodeon broadcast to me. And I don't necessarily want that.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Nice guy. Worked him out, know him well. But I mean, there were multiple telecasts on that note where it was more talking and there's big plays that happen and we're not seeing replays. Just show me a replay. That's all I really care about. Show me a couple angles. Let me see how somebody got hurt. That's what I care about, not all just the yap.
I think 3-man booths are a little bit much. I think you get a play-by-play, you get a commentator. That's pretty much the tried and true. Why try and reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
You don't need to make it square. It goes perfectly fine when it's round. Yeah. But Dallas, they're a team that, selfishly, I wish would have won another game or two because I would have loved to see that offense in the postseason. When Dak, when Pickens, when CD are all clicking, that's a fun unit to watch.
Yeah, and I think that, depending upon how they handle Pickens, he's kind of taken over CD, which is, I knew he'd be on best behavior this year, and he has for the most part. That was the worry with, I think, everybody was just, but you put him in a final year of a contract, got a chance to make a lot of money. This guy is really talented. I think the question is once he gets paid wherever it is it going to continue to look like this? Because it's pretty darn good. As Steeler fans knew at different times, but there just was, more pain or more suffering than pleasure. So I like what Schottenheimer's done as his first year as a head coach. They got to figure out the defense, but they got some pieces in place where they could be a good team.
Yeah, and they've brought in a few different players. They traded for Logan Wilson, they traded for Quinnen Williams. If they find an edge rusher, and I know that that comes back to, okay, well then why did Jerry trade away Micah Parsons? That's a whole different conversation. But if they find a really capable edge rusher, maybe they make another move in the offseason for one. That's a defense that should be able to take a leap forward, and a team that should see their way back into the postseason if all goes well, especially offensively, if they bring back Pickens, which I think Jerry wants to do. I mean, when you have a dynamic player like that, I mean, God knows, you know as much as anybody, Jerry loves him some flashy receivers. So,
question with Jerry is he going to string it out like he has all the others? Just get it over, done with. It's always cheaper when you do it first.
Yes, very much so. I mean, we've seen in that same division, the Philadelphia Eagles have been ahead of the 8 ball plenty on that when it comes to, going out of their way to extend AJ Brown when they didn't necessarily have to. Doing the same with Devontae Smith, all these void years in the ends of contracts. It's very much credit card approach and whatnot. Eventually that bill comes due. But ask the Eagles how much they care about that after they just won a Super Bowl. So we'll see what Dallas does in the offseason. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But that'll wrap up the Week 17 recap show. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe. If you're listening as a podcast, leave a comment, leave a review. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Todd and I will be back both on this show and on Believe in Steelers to preview Week 17. And once the season's over, maybe have a little bit of conversations about, certain guys that could go certain places. So be sure to lock in, because it's going to be not just for the rest of the season and the postseason, but all off season. You'll get a bunch of football talk from the two of us. So another one in the books, my friend. We'll be back later on in the week.
All right. Have a good one. Get ready for some more football.
Yeah. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll be back later on in the week on the Pump Fake.